Oh dear. Hello? Hello? I'm in contemplation mode, Rob. So I don't know whether to take those two tanks and lower that and try and get 8 low buoys in here, or 6 low buoys and 2 tanks at the top. So I need to have a think about how that would fit. But and if it would work, so I think it would. But let me so if I take that down, so what's that, 3. I've got 3 in each one. So 2 in the bottom. Just counting, sorry. What's that? And then we've got won't work. Shame, never mind. It was an idea. So back to the original plan then. So I think hire bike shed. Pull your jeans up, they're always hanging around my backside, mate. These ones aren't too bad, to be honest. So I think the plan is I'll show you. Let's move this down a bit. So I think the plan is that I've got a tank down here. I'm going to drain that tank and move that up onto here. Once I've emptied this, and then I'll put this rack back together and move those 2 tanks, because once I've got this rack empty, I can actually get these tanks on if the racks aren't close together, so I can put them in situ. These I can't. So if I get that one in, Gavin's going to give me 2 tanks. So Gavin's giving me his 2 Scaper tanks the weekend. He's going to drop them up the weekend. Yeah, our jeans up, look. So I think we stick to the original plan and start moving that tank up onto here. I was looking at lowering this bottom row, which would have meant removing those 2 tanks completely, lowering it, putting them back, putting the others on. If I hadn't cut this rack, because I have cut it down a bit, if I hadn't cut this rack, it would just fit. So I'd have the top tanks here, and I'd have got I'd have got 6 of those and 2 scapers on top. So the scapers would have come to about here. But it is what it is. I'll stick with the original plan, I think, and we'll start getting stuff moved. So because they're Caridina, what I do is because they're Caridina tanks, I have to save the water. Well, I don't have to, but it makes sense to save the water. So I don't know if you guys can see down here. Apologies if I'm missing any comments, but I like to use a larger hose for emptying, just because they empty so much faster. And I still can't get the suck right. Come on, Glenn. Ah. And I'll just pump the water back in. So I move as much as I can out to don't think about moving changing the top up system as well. But I take probably, well, I take a 25 litre bucket out, a 10 litre bucket out, so the 45 litre tanks, which leaves them with obviously 10 litres, minus the equipment in there, you know, the rock and wood and all that stuff. But I'm not bothered if I only put sort of 80% of it back. I'll just use that as a water change. Once I've got this water out, guys, I'll come and have a look at some comments. So just back from the vets, took the daughter and her pooch, which is a 7.5 stone muscle-ridden monster, but she got an ear infection in both ears, a yeast and bacterial infection, and the vet had to apply some drops. Oh, come on, don't get sucked up the pipe. Tell you what, I'm tempted to move this after 25 litres, but I know it's going to be heavy. I am going to do the full drain on it. Come and have a look at the comments in a minute, folks. This tank isn't painted on the back like most of my other tanks. I thought I was a shrimp then. Now the fun is, because I've got cameras and everything in the way, I need to move buckets as well. And these 25 litre buckets aren't bloody light. This is how I done my back in the first place. Let's have a look. Hi guys. Let me go back through a few comments. I can't remember how to swipe the comments, so you get to see just comments. I don't even know if you can on here. Hi Rye. Yeah, Mr. Driz. Prodigal. How you doing, Don? Need to get the pen out, guys. Let's have a look. And there was someone else I missed. Dr. Driz. The reason I'm writing names down is because I've got a thing going on after hitting 1,000 subs. where I'm going to do a few lives, try and boost a few hours up, and I'll do a giveaway of anyone who's commented and joined one of those lives. Let's grab the coffee. Oh, how is everyone this morning? I might lower this actually. This is where you need a big tablet, hey Rob, so you can read comments easier. And I haven't got much room to work with at the moment, so obviously once everything's in place that will change. So a smaller one to finish it off. Although I'm tempted to move it like that. I'll siphon it a different way. So I don't have to suck up a load of water. There we go. Oh, shrimp as well. Don't climb up the pod. And apologies if I've exposed my builder's bits. Right, that'll do. Oh. My builder's bits, I like it. I could do with the damn coffee now, to be honest. Let me go and get, give me 2 seconds guys, I'm just going to nip into the house for something. I'm back. Just want to give stuff a dust. It's quite dusty. So before I put the tanks on, just give them a bit of a wipe with the damp microfiber. Makes sense to try and keep everything clean, you know what I mean? Okay, that's that one on. So next bit, apart from having 3 shrimp in this bucket, is to find the air, and I think the air is in here. This is how I popped the pump yesterday, Rob. I turned some air off and pump went pop. But for simplicity, I'm just gonna, rather than trying to take it off, I'm just gonna cut that pipe for now, and then I'll strip it off at a later point. I do need to disconnect the top up stuff because that's become obsolete once I've done all these. Right, that's that out. I'm hissing, but I'm deliberately hissing on the pipe because I don't want to disconnect the pump just yet. Let's have a quick check of messages. Thanks, Don. Let's put this over here, give it a bit of a turn. So the pain is I've got loads of stuff to bloody move around. Let's take that off. Let's move this bucket out of the way. So that's a project bucket. And then let's see if we can get this in one go. They're only small tanks, but they're still bloody heavy when you've got a bag back. Right, connect that straight up. So somewhere, or can I? I'll leave it for me. I don't want to pull it forward. It doesn't always move on the mat that it's on. There you go, that's that one in. And then we simply little. So what I need to do, so that tank's off. I've got two tanks off, but need to take the frogs out in order to get those tanks on. I need to move the rack over that way slightly, probably 4 inches. Move those two tanks, then put the frog tanks lower down. So I'm going to gain a shelf. I'm not going to gain a shelf, I'm going to remove the shelf so I have a spare shelf, which is what I was trying to do here. But because I cut this, I can't go to where I want to go to with it, which is a shame. The nice thing as well about creating a bit of a gap between the two racks is that that's going to give me access to stuff. Now at the moment, my air pump for these two racks are behind there, and it's way too powerful. So what I'm going to do is take that air pump out, extend the air feed from this rack over here, this big one, and use that big pump to run both of those racks, and then I've got a spare pump then. What I do need to do, because I've done this wrong, is I need to move those two tanks up on, so that's fine, I need to move them up there, but in order to do that I've got to take these frog tanks out to get to them. And the pain is that I moved two tanks over here yesterday, which are okay, but at some point today I need to move those up onto a higher shelf or onto the middle shelf, so I need to clear that, because that's the ideal place to carry the frog tanks, and the frog tanks are heavier than the frog tanks are way heavier than the fish tanks, and I mean way heavier. Let's pull this cable around. So I think I'm let's flip that round. I think I'm going to can I move that any lower? Can I move that any lower? Yes. So I'll put that there. I think it's going to be easier to move the frog tanks onto this shelf anyway. Then I can move those. The Galaxies are going to get reset and go into a tank next to the one that I've showed you, but I haven't got that tank yet. I'm waiting for that to appear, which should appear Sunday. And the PRL, I'm either going to have to find a home for them in a small tank, which I may do, or get rid of them, which again I may do. So we'll have to wait and see. I know Rob's waiting for fish today. I don't really want to feed these Galaxies. They got fed yesterday. Oh dear. So Rob's waiting for fish. Looking forward to seeing those fish. And I'm doing madness in the shrimp room. And it is madness. I've got to move stuff about, like Billy, just to sort of get it where I need to get it to, which is lovely. Turned one of the misting systems off yesterday, need to change that. Change that back actually. Oh, that coffee's good. Yeah, they're always on the move, these. I think it's because there's so many in here for the size of the tank. I mean, there's a good surface area, but there's so many in here, they're constantly on the biofilm. If I drop a bit of food in, they'll go mad. I was trying to find yesterday, one, I found it, trying to find a particular food. Once I've done all these moves, I've still got another 8 tanks to set up. And move some other stuff about as well. Yeah, 8 tanks. I need to buy 6 of them. Morning, John. There's my just done a live tank move that's killed me. So these were fed last night, so how active they're going to be on the food, God only knows. They're coming for it though. Won't take them long. Oh, I need to add John to the list actually for the giveaway. Were you already on it? No. Yeah, Rich One does affect pH, yeah. So it's a humic and fulvic acid, so it will lower pH. I think you'd have to put quite a lot in to have a serious impact. And based on the dosage, it's probably minuscule, but it adds sort of macro elements and humic and fulvics that they need, which to be honest are probably in your soils anyway. But I like, because you put in sort of strip water in, I like to add something back to that water. So you're taking out water that probably would be naturally rich in humic and fulvic acids because of your soils, and you're replacing it with some that hasn't got humic and fulvic acids in, so that's why I use it. So question is, do I move these tanks today? I'll get this tank moved that I've done. I'll strip out the automatic top-up system. In fact, I wonder if I could actually use that there. Ah, interesting. That would fit into those two tanks. That's really interesting. So I've done that out. Yeah, I've got loads to do, man. Loads. I learned something yesterday. I was looking at the energy usage on my AC/heat pump, and it uses, to heat it only uses 2.8 kilowatts. To cool it uses 3.5 kilowatts. So it actually uses more energy in the summer, but that's only if it's obviously hot. If it's an ambient temperature, this room holds temp pretty well. Why did I have to move around the room? Look at them. John, if you're still on, when you come up, you want to do a bit of video with us? It does raise TDS as well, but it's slightly, anything you put in a tank will raise TDS. John, not Don. John Buckley, who was in here earlier, he's getting rid of his Neos, and I'm taking some of them off him as part of sort of moving the tank around. But you're welcome to come up, Don. Yeah, anything you put in a tank. But yeah, you're welcome to come up. I'm in Tamworth, Staffordshire, so it's a bit of a trek. But if you want to come up for a coffee anytime, just let me know. We can do some filming of what you were after, if you want. I know you were looking to put something together. I might do my little project video today, the one with videoing, doing some footage on 4 different devices and a comparison across the 4 devices. Be interesting to see how that turns out, actually. You're Derby, ain't you, Roy? You Derby way? Stokey, I've got there's a guy coming here tomorrow from Stoke, actually. He comes, he buys quite a bit of stuff off me. I need to put his order together, but he buys quite a bit of stuff off me, but he collects because he does a bit of work in Tamworth. So he's coming down tomorrow. Potteries lad. I've done a bit of work up in Stoke over the years. Software projects and the likes. Paul Collis. he's often on the lives, drops on the lives, but he's a good lad, Paul. He actually said he offered to help me move stuff tomorrow because I struggle to lift heavy stuff. Be interesting to know how heavy that tank was, to be honest. But I'm still suffering from yesterday, and I've got more to do today. And I have got a tank that I want to strip out at some point before John turns up. I want to change. I want to change the tank. It's currently got some plecos and some blue jellies in, but the blue jellies are going to go in my mixed tank, I think, or I might set them up a little tank. I might drop them in a small 20 litre or something for now. Do a bit. There's not loads. There was I think I had 12. Lost a few. Did escape in a video. Never been happy with it. I've got about 12 now or more, and there's a couple that need to come out and go in the coal tank. Did you drive right? He does some sales for like I don't know how to explain it, you know, like Dungeons and Dragons type things, or like the you know, you can go into some of these specialist shops and buy all the characters, the figurines and stuff like that. He does sales of those, so he gets about a bit, and he's obviously got customers in Tamworth as well. So it makes sense for him to pop in. There was something he was after that I wasn't stocking anymore, but I got it in for him. And I've got a nice delivery today coming from Holland of some of the bigger botanical pods and a few other bits and pieces that I've run out of stock of. You have a fancy coming down for a coffee, you're more than welcome. Spend half hour with me. Just book it in. I'm busy. I've had to take, my daughter bought an XL bully just before the ban come in, a pup, and she had to take it to the vets for some ear drops because it's got an infection in its ear. And I've given her a lift, but she struggles to hold that dog. It's about 7.5, 8 stone, and I've had to I struggle to hold it myself. It's like 7.5, 8 stone of pure dog muscle. It's a massive thing, but soft as a brush. Soft as a brush, that dog is. It's a shame. You have to muzzle them. And she's, last time it was on a collar, but she's put it on a harness, and I struggled to hold it, and I was suffering from yesterday as it was with my back, and I've suffered even more. I need to make a list of what I need to buy, because I've got to alter and edit stuff. I definitely need to take that rack over a few inches. It'd be nice if I could strip it down and paint it, to be honest. I've got a tin of spray paint. Even with the reflection, this camera is so much better than the Honor one. But the battery's rubbish on this phone, and I mean rubbish. Let's have a quick look. So I'm on 75%, and it was 100% when it was plugged in. So I've used 25% in. Well, it's not too bad. 35 minutes, I suppose. I'm dreading the next section of this. Absolutely dreading it. It's moving these tanks over one. Although, I wonder if I empty that tub, I can put a frog tank on there, and I can put a frog tank on that chair, and then I can move them. I've got plans. I'm just sitting hatching some plans in my head. Yeah, well, the long-term plan, right, is that rack with the frogs on. The frogs are going down a shelf, so underneath their shelf will be storage, and that storage will be for like the soils and stuff, for the isopod soils, leaves, stuff that I use for the isopods which are on the rack next to them. And then the shelf that they're on at the moment, long-term this is, it won't happen quick. I'm going to put a 90 centimetre terrarium, so 90 wide, 60 tall, and 45 front to back. And I'm going to have a group of frogs in that, single species, another frog species. But I'm going to really plant that up as a biotope. So I made friends with the lads that run the terrarium hut, and they can sort of advise me how best to set up that terrarium from a planted perspective, and plants that would be native to where those frogs are from. So it's going to be a proper build, that one. I don't think I'm going to foam the back. I think I'm going to use something called Hygralon, which is like a black mesh that you glue to the walls, and it holds moisture, so stuff can grow up it quite well. And then because everything grows up it, you won't actually notice that there's a back in it. And then what I'll do is I'll use branches and stuff to create levels. Yeah, I reckon the end of this year. Unless I can find somebody selling a second-hand terrarium cheap on Marketplace or something. Right, where's my net and where's my bin? Let's put these little 3 shrimp back in their home. Oh. In fact, it'd be good to turn the camera and show you this one, although it is a bit cloudy at the moment, because there's some nice shrimp in here as well. So this was the, I'll do that actually. Where's he shot out? Is he in there? I've just lost a shrimp. Where's that shrimp gone? Right, bear with me. I've had a shrimp shoot out the net, and now I'm going to try and find him on the floor somewhere. Where the bloody hell's that gone? Now trying to see something move on the floor, and you've got stripy carpet. I've lost him, man. Oh well, sorry shrimp, lost you. Can't understand where that's gone. Oh, he's in the bucket still. Found him. Got him, got him, got him. He was hiding in the bucket. Oh. So the problem with the bad back, getting on your bloody hands and knees. Let's flip this camera for you guys, and I'll put you on the other Galaxy tank, because this is one that I've never really filmed because it was low. And there are some stunning shrimp in here too. Let's have a bit of a move around and flip the camera for you. So I haven't got a lot of room to manoeuvre at the moment. It's whether that lead will go that far over. It should. I'll get these fed as well. Let's get some food in there. So those of you that have followed me for a while, you might remember that I selected 7 shrimp, put them in a breeder box, and 4 of them went over the weir on the breeder box, and went crusty on the lid. The lid was so tight fitting that I'd created. They went crusty on the lid, so I just left the 4 in the tank, and this tank is the byproduct of that. So these are everything in this tank is a byproduct of 4 shrimp, and I reckon there's about 100 in here. Excuse the cloudy water. This is what I've got, a piece of food there, and they all want the net. Look, unreal. It's a bit worn, this net. But it ain't. This is my original SL Aqua net. It's gone a bit floppy. I know the feeling. So I think these are more interested in the fact that their substrate's been moved and manipulated, but there's a nice stamp of shrimp in here. I really like them. I like the head spots on them. I mean, I don't have to pump this water back in slowly, but I just am. I might even drag it out. If I get everything moved where I want it, I might even drag it out at some point and paint the back. But the reason I painted the walls behind blue was exactly for this reason. So I've got a blue background. That's why the room's the colour it is, for exactly that reason. So if I didn't paint the back. So yeah, between this tank and the other one, I want to build 2 colonies of high grade and medium grade, and anything else goes out. I've just noticed a load of duckweed in another tank below that, with some fancy tigers in. Got delivery. My delivery should be here between 12:10 and 1:10. So plans moving forward are, obviously I've told you what's happening with the frogs. My PRL need a home. So not sure what I'm doing with those yet. I might set up a small 30 litre and have them where the tubs are at the moment. And see if I can get them going. The big rack behind us, I'm doing 2 90 litre. One of them escapes, that'll be videoed. And then my plan is on the bottom row of that will be 4 Neo Caridina, and then 6 breeding tanks for Apistos. So I think I'm going to have 3. I'm going to look for 3 breeding pairs of dwarf cichlids, and then on the top row, and then the bottom row will be grow out tanks, or once they've become free swimming, move the adults down. And I haven't decided what Apistos yet. Hiya Mickey, how are you? Let's grab a pen. So as I mentioned, anyone that comes on the lives and interacts, probably in a month or so, what I'll do is I'll add your name to a list, and then we'll do a live draw and do a giveaway on that. So I've got a pen and a pad behind me. Oh, I've got a pen and a pad here. Pen and a bit of paper. So I'll keep that list going. Yeah, I'm quite tempted not to mess with this tank because I really like the Stamper shrimp in it. Sorry for the reflection. So we are filling this tank up. Just moved it from rack 3 to rack 2. And then I need to move 2 of the tanks from rack 3 onto the top of this, but I need to move the 2 frog tanks before I can do that. I mean, it's a good opportunity because I've got background heat on one of the tanks, and I've had a couple of not heat failures, but I've had incidents where I've been filming, knocked off the heat pump, and ended up with, it was a cold night and it dropped down to 15 degrees in here. 15 degrees is too cold for frogs, and only one of them obviously had backup heat, the other one didn't. So they're a bit lethargic. Didn't lose them, thank God. And the plan will be to, when I move them, I'm going to set the background heat up better. So what I'm looking to do is put a heat mat between the two terrariums, so they've got a form of heat, and then set that so it's sort of anything below 20 it'll pop up and do what it needs to do. Pity I couldn't move this forward a touch as well. Never mind. I can probably move the other one backwards though. Give me a bit more space down that end of the room. That needs to get plugged in as well. Sorry if I'm knocking the tripod, trying to plug something in underneath it. Misting system for the frogs. Didn't sound good at all, that didn't. Just editing that. So with the moves to the changes to the frog tanks as well, I can fit stuff in better places, drop a bit of timber in, screw stuff to it. Loads better than it is at the moment. So just remember, everything you can see and it's by no means everything in the tank. So there's still stuff milling around the tank. Everything you can see originates from 4 shrimp. So there's stuff milling around everywhere as well. Trying to think the best way to do this air. I've just put a joiner in. That needs to come off there. That can get cut. That can be an end stop. That would work, wouldn't it? God, I've got loads to do. Yeah, they I think I did a price breakdown in that last video. So the original visit to the timber yard was 90 quid. Then I spent an additional, obviously fuel as well. It's about 40 minutes away, that timber yard, but it's still cheaper than going to my local one. I think I spent another 20 quid on boards. The paint I already had, so what we on 110. Spent about 20 quid on screws and glue. 130. 60 quid on electrics. 190. Obviously you wouldn't have to do electrics. So 130, and I already had the paint, so the paint's just the fence paint. Dulux, is it Dulux? No, it's just the fence paint. It's called Duxback. Might even be Ronseal. Duxback fence paint. You get it in all different colours. My uncle built some like benches for the garden out of the same timbers, and he used a grey one. You've just given me a wicked idea actually, because I need a water tank for the frog misting systems, and I will have room. I'm going to lose one of these low boys, so one of these low boys will be spare, but it'll make an absolutely fantastic water holding tank for the frog misting systems once the PRL are moved to something. I think I can I've got a couple of mystery snails, and I'm scared to put them in any of my other tanks because they absolutely destroy plants. So unless I've got a tank that's non-planted. Oh, you on crutches, Mickey? I'm on walking stick. I'm all right in the house, but if I go out, even like walking from a car park to a hospital appointment, I'm on sticks. I can't. I need to support my back, otherwise I'll be in agony. But yeah, to be honest, I got the idea. I was looking at rack builds on YouTube, and I saw the dado cuts and how simple the dado cuts were on 4x2, and thought that's going to be really strong, because you're actually sitting the downforce in the inside the timber, that it's not, you know, it's not screwed onto it, it's not being held by 4 screws, although it is being held by screws. It's actually, the weight is on the timber, and the only downside for me was the feet, but easy remedy to just wrap some of this black plastic stuff around the feet. This stuff here that I use to cover the fronts of the tanks up, it's called Prolex. I need to go and buy some more actually. It's about, I think it's 5 or 6 quid for an 8x4 sheet from Wickes. It's decent. It's I'm going to redo all these. I'd love to do them with magnetic tape, so do the back of them with magnetic tape. I think it'd just look neater. Only downside is that magnetic tape is bloody expensive for the amount I need to do. So I think you get 3 meters for a tenner or something, and I probably need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I need about 15 times 3 meters. But I enjoyed that build. So there was a bit of a twist in it, but I think it's if I could give you any advice, when you're doing your uprights, clamp them all together, dead flush, get some clamps on them, and cut all your dados at the same time. Don't do one, then the other one, then the other one, because if you cut them all at the same time, they're exactly uniform. And I think one of mine was slightly high. Hi Raina, how are you? I think one of mine was slightly high, and that created the twist, but it's timber, and with it being timber, it flexes. So I stood on one corner and my lad stood on the other corner, and it levelled. So I knew just putting tanks on it would square it up. It was only out by about, so corner to corner, and that is it's nearly 2 meters long, that is. So corner to corner there was about a ½ inch to 1 inch rock, but as soon as you put weight on it, it just squared up. Hi Jodie, how are you? So just, you're probably going to get sick of hearing me say this, but just for clarity, I've hit 1k subs, and in order to get my hours up, I'm going to go live over the next few weeks a few times, and anyone that drops in a live and is active in the comments, says hi, or conversation or whatever, I'm going to enter you into a draw for probably a GB t-shirt or something, and doesn't, just because I can ship that globally easier, and sort of work out the logistics to that. So I mean, if you're UK, I'll negotiate with you what you want, but globally it's probably going to be a t-shirt or something, and what I'll do is I'll do a live draw at the end of it for that. So I've got a little notepad, and I'm making notes of names and stuff, and I'll put you all into the spinny wheel thing. And I've just noticed a bit of blackbeard algae now, or is it snails? So what we're doing at the moment is we're in the process of I'm moving stuff around. So I've moved this tank, so this tank's filling up at the moment. but I've moved it from down there, and those two are getting moved to the top shelf here. I'm only putting one tank here because I'm waiting for another tank to come in, and then the frogs, I need to take the frogs off that rack to get those two tanks out. Once those two tanks are out, the frogs are going to get dropped down a level, so the top of this rack for now will remain empty, but the plans for that long term are for a large terrarium. And then if I flip the camera, so these two tanks behind me on the new rack are, one of them needs to find a new home, or the shrimp in it do, and the shrimp in here will be going next to the tank I was just filming, but I am waiting for that tank, and then obviously that will create me I'll have two empty low boy tanks, but I think I'm going to use them on the bottom of the frog tank as water storage for the frog misting systems. So these tanks still need to be moved as well, and I'll probably start that Sunday. I think what I'm going to do with the Galaxies is to keep it simple. When I set the tank up, I'm going to siphon all the soil out of this tank, or get as much of this out as I can, and use it in a UGF box in the new tank, and then obviously, or catch all the shrimp out, siphon the soil out, drip them back into the new tank, because that soil will be full of bacteria, so the UGF will be a good way of doing it. And that's a UGF box, that filter in the corner there, so it just contains soil, and it buffers, so it gives me the opportunity to have a really thin layer of soil on the bottom. Thanks, Jody. Oh, that's awesome. I'm getting, I haven't heard off the guy I get them off. I don't breed them, although I've kept a dozen and they are breeding, just because they usually sell out quicker than I can breed them. So I've got, the guy I have them off's got a massive tank full of them, like 4-foot tank with thousands of shrimp in, but I think he took quite, I think I had quite a lot off him in quite a short space of time, so he needs a bit of recovery. And but someone is bringing me some Bloody Marys that look quite nice, so I'm not sure how, if they're genuine Bloody Marys, but we're going to go with my reds anyway. So I'll have, I am expanding my Neos, so I'll have very dark green jades, which I've just called, I'll still call them fire reds because I don't know the genetics. I'll need to have a look at the shrimp that come up. I'm going to have Snowball and I think Blue Dreams. So those are the 4 Neo tanks that I'm going to keep. I may, no, I can't do it. I'm always thinking, where can I fit more stuff in? Just patience, and the best saying I've ever heard is set your tank up, cycle it, get your shrimp in, set and forget. Don't tinker, keep your hands out the tank. Only really, you know, if you've got, sorry, I keep knocking this, if you've got plenty of biofilm in there, feed, and depending on how many shrimp, feed once, twice a week. I say I rarely feed these, but if I'm videoing I tend to feed them, just because I'm feeding them, but most of my tanks get fed once, max twice a week. But they're much better. I was saying, Jody, that these shrimp in here were a breeding project, so I selected 7 very nice shrimp, and in order to acclimatise them to the new tank they were going into, I put them in an inch of water in a breeder box. You know, the breeder boxes that drip air up, like blow air up, and you know, got like an uplift tube. And I've found that's a simple, no nonsense, just let it happen way of dripping shrimping. So I got I'll tell you that in a minute. So I put them in this breeder box, and 4 of them went over the top and ended up on the lid of the condensation tray of the tank and died. So everything in this tank are from 4 original shrimp. So what it depends on what Caridina you get, but you're looking, so most Caridina you're looking of a GH between 4 and 6, so I aim for 5, and a KH of 0, or 0 to 1, but I always go for 0. So if it's 0 to 1, why go to 1? It's pointless. And your soil will take any KH out anyway. I've found that with the minerals that I use, I've got it to hand. With the minerals that I use a liquid mineral just because there's no mixing. So SL Aqua Green Wizard, Qualdrop GH plus 1, or GH plus LC, low conductivity. I aim for about a TDS of 140 to 150, and I find that works well. To be honest, I've heard breeders say, like breeders from Singapore, say that anything over 100's fine. But my own experience, if you've got shrimp with white in them, so just pure white line, pure red line, pure black line, pandas, if you go below 4GH, the white tends to wash out. So I just stick for 5 with everything really. And then I don't chase TDS. If my TDS goes up, I'm overfeeding. You don't need to. You don't need to chase. I was mad TDS chaser initially. So I've never had Scutra, never had it. But what I tend to do, I either buy from known sources. So there's a couple of people that I buy from. If I buy something where I'm not sure where it's from, it will go into quarantine, or at very, very least, it will go into a breeder box on the side of the tank. And I've learnt from losing shrimp that I now put a sponge in the overflow, so a coarse sponge, to stop them going through that and make sure the lid's on, and just keeping. Oh, lovely! Just keeping an eye on them for a couple of weeks, see if they develop anything, and if they, if you see any signs of anything, that breeder box comes off that tank. That's if they're going into a tank that's already got shrimp in. That is if they're going into one. So it'd be interesting to see how you get on with that, Rainer, because of the larval stage. But it'll be really, really good to see. I know someone that's tried it. They got quite far with it, but I think it's increasing the salinity, and then decreasing the salinity back once they're out the larval stage. Yeah, you're going to have to use pure RO. I'll show you, I've actually got some SL Aqua Green Wizard coming today. It's been out of stock at the suppliers for a while. Oh, my back. It's been out of stock at the suppliers for a while. But I tend to switch between. This is the breeder's bottle. I only usually get these in 500s, but this is what I'm using at the moment. Oh, let's see if I can. It's just the liquid, and it's really easy. Five. I know exactly how much. I think it's 5 ml raises the carbonate hardness by. Sorry, raises the general hardness by 1 in 10 litres of water or something. So to get it to where I need it, my 80 litre bin needs 40 ml. And that brings me up to 150. So I sort of go 35 and then tweak it in, let it mix and stuff. I'm just going to get so I'm struggling sitting on that. I've got a step that I use around the room, and I'm struggling a bit with my back sitting on it, so I've got a back support cushion that I can drop on it. And then I think the next plan is to empty. Do I need to empty the shelf? No, I need to empty a tub. So if I can empty a tub, I can get one of the fog tanks over there. Where do I put my, oh anyway I can put it. So that tub's going to get emptied. One of the fog tanks can go over there. One can go on that chair. I'll get my nipper up, see if they'll give me a lift, because they're really heavy, them fog tanks. Oh, let me sit down and see what comments are on. Greenleaf algae nutrient basically in the Amano. They're reproducing in our freshwater salad with hill stream. Oh, that's good. The Amanos are, if anyone can do it, Rainer can. Amanos are really notoriously difficult to breed because of their, 99% of them are wild caught, because they have a larval stage, and that larva washes down into estuaries, so they go from fresh to salt and then back again. And I think the difficulty is at each larval stage they're in a different salinity, and that salinity will depend where they've been caught originally. So different Amanos from different parts of the world and different estuaries have different salinity requirements, and that's what's difficult about it, I think. Yeah, I've never heard of them myself. I love hill streams. Oh, so you're just looking to get the larvae, then that's good. Hello, Caridina rubra. Amano, Caridina multidentata, or there's a serrata, is there as well? It always makes me laugh because multidentata means many teeth. See, I like them. I had Amanos in the tank in the house, and I do like Amanos. They're a good judge of water quality. So if you've got an ammonia spike, you'll find an Amano walking across the kitchen floor, and or dead, and before anything else dies. And I had I had some on the website, and I think I used the last 5 myself in a tank, and somebody bought them, so I ended up having to catch them out and sell them. So I've got no Amanos at the moment of my own, and I do like Amanos. They're little grafters. They get a job done. So I'm going on that side of the rack, apart from the Neos. I'm going dwarf cichlid in most of the tanks. Not one of them is going to be a live bearer, but I don't know how the Amanos will fare if you've got breeding dwarf cichlids in there. I've got a feeling that the dwarf cichlids will batter them and eat them. there's an Australian Amano as well, isn't there? So there's an Australian Amano, and I think the others come from China or the Far East, Singapore, somewhere like that. I'm not sure. Never really looked into them. I just know that they eat algae and they're good in scapes, implanted tanks. They're really good implanted aquariums. I'd have a few in my my plant storage when I get that going, but knowing Amanos, they'll when I pick a plant out, there'll be an Amano stuck to it, so anyone who buys plants will end up with free Amanos. Oh, they could be Japanese, yeah. They could be. So I've never really looked into the locality of them. Just looked into what they require. Well, just saw a colt that needs to come out of the spotted pintos. He's decided not to have a red head on this one. And I have spotted a red shrimp in here as well. What's interesting is you usually get the galaxies usually throw blue bolts, blue steels, and these ones haven't. Taiwan, Japan, yeah, Taiwanese. Taiwan, also known as the Republic of China, I believe, and then China is the People's Republic of China. So both of them are China. I think this is why the Chinese want Taiwan back. This is what the big worry is, you know, in global circles. So yeah, quite pleased with this little colony. Just because this colony was born from 4 shrimp, so just shows you what you can do. And they're pretty stable. You don't get many throwouts off them. I've had more reds out of them than I have. I don't think I've took a bolt out of this tank at all. It's not saying it won't, because the genetics are there. So what do I do after this tank? I'm gonna have to move frogs. I don't know whether to sort the air feed out on here. So that T-piece could go there. I need an end cap. Well, that end cap will go there. I think before I move the next tank, I'm going to sort the air feed out and disconnect the big pump, get that pump out, and run it off the other pump. I probably should have created a bit of a plan. I've done everything on the fly as usual. I need to do some work on the website as well. I want to start offering out some Caridina now, but I want to do it in such a way that if somebody buys Caridina, they get an automatic email about parameters and soft water, because the amount of people I've had buy them, and I have to manually email them and say, you realise these won't live on tap water? If so, let me know and we'll continue. But I want to try and automate that process if I can. I don't want to sell shrimp for people to put in tap water for them just to die, because I've got it on the listings. These shrimp are soft water and require specific parameters. They will not live on tap water. But the amount of people that have tried to buy stuff, and when you've asked them the question, they haven't read stuff. So I want to try and automate that. I might just do it in my thank you for your order email. Please note, if you have bought Caradina shrimp, these will not live on tap water. Message us at this if that's the case. Something like that. Back dilution is the solution. You're a poet and you didn't know it. I tell you what, I'm so tempted to do a fish only small marine. In the house I've got a 40 gallon that I could do as a fish only with a pair of clowns and maybe a few you know, a blenny, rock blenny, some chromis or something, or a basslet, something like that. But it's mixing water again, and I do enough stuff. I'd love another salt water. Yeah, I know it's not hard. So I've done it. I've done reef before, so I know what it entails. But fish will just be so much easier. Get a skimmer, get a wave maker. I'll use the internal filter on the Joule. I know I could do it. I might use an external actually. I know I can do it, but it's just more work for me. I've got enough in here. I've just gone from 22 tanks in here to 30. See what we used, how I used to run my marine was I've done them with no sump, an under gravel filter with calcium plus a divider and coral sand, and that was your buffering. I mean, I'm going back 30 years, and fish only with a skimmer, and that was it. Couple of power heads. And that was it, and I never had any problems with them. And then I went sump. I've had built-in weir systems that I made myself out of glass and stuff. Blow sock and top off. Yeah, I should do it, you know. I should definitely do it. I don't even really need to change the lighting in that tank, you know, unless there's no need for actinics or anything with fish only. The salinity stat, as long as you're doing fresh RO top-ups. What about nitrates and stuff? Oh look, I still use them, Don. UGF box. Probably needs cleaning, but I've just moved it temporarily. In fact, that looks quite full. Probably need to redo that. But I still use UGFs. As they work. They work. UGFs work. On your fish only, then, how do you deal with nitrates and stuff, Rainer? Just use a chemical exchange resin. Yeah, they don't break. The air pump's more likely to break than the UGF box. I do need to have a look at this UGF box because it does look quite full. I might need to tip the soil out, give it a rinse, clean the box, put it back. Although this is due a reset. So I've got spare boxes, so I might just cycle a box in a bucket once I've got a bucket available. I mean, this is still a bit cloudy, but I haven't even plugged this in. Let me plug some air in temporarily, because I'm going to change the air in here. I'm going to change all the air feeds, but it doesn't take long to clear once you've got a bit of air running through that UGF box. That's all. Oh, I'm struggling to reach over here. The only downside for me to the UGF box is if you're not careful and you have the outlet under the water, you tend to get shrimp go down the outlet and then they end up underneath the UGF plate and they spend the rest of their life under, they're getting imprisoned and they spend forever under the UGF box. But I might actually drop a hose down there and siphon some muck out. I'm going to do a big water change on this anyway. So just lift the air stone and the pipe out, drop a hose down, give it a good suck and it will pull loads of the fine crap underneath. But yeah, this is I've never really filmed this tank just because of the position it was in, but the sort of move around the room and changing stuff around the room and the way I've built the rack is for filming, so I can do live streams and stuff like that and sit, you know, relatively comfortably while I'm doing them. Because standing doing lives kills me. And I mean kills me. I'd love to have a bit of a soundtrack on in the background, but because of copyright, YouTube don't allow you to have any music, whereas TikTok does. So I do need to up my TikTok game. I have got a TikTok shop on the go, where I've got some decor and botanicals on there. And I think long term, my plan is going to be that, well, I've just found somewhere to put my PR up. I think long term, my plan for TikTok is to run website. I sell stuff on TikTok and I forget to take it off the website. And oh, nice. I haven't got room for that right now. I think long term the plan is, what I'm a nightmare for doing is I'm a nightmare for selling stuff on TikTok and not taking it off the website because they're not connected. It'd be lovely if there was an API that connected the two stocks together, but there isn't. And I think what I'm going to do is, so all my dry goods out of the room have gone into between the two of the bedrooms upstairs. There used to be two wardrobes, and the people prior to us took those two built-in wardrobes out and created a massive walk-in cupboard. It's probably half the size of this room. So at the moment, all my stock's on racks in there, but I have got a rack in the back bedroom as well. And the plan's going to be, so that's like in an alcove, and then there's a wardrobe in front, not in front of it, but to the side of it. So I think the plan's going to be long term to run two lots of stock, a stock for the website that will go in that huge walk-in cupboard, and a stock for TikTok that will go on the racks in the will go on the racks in the spare bedroom. can't believe I've just found somewhere to put my PRO. It's only a 27 litre tank with a built-in filter at the back, but it works. And I could use the soil from there to there. Interesting. I'm looking around the room, plotting. Making plans. So while you guys are watching that, I'm going to get my hammer out. It sounds bad, doesn't it? Let me get my hammer out, my plastic mallet. I'm going to fit this shelf above because I can. Got to be careful not to drop stuff now there's a tank. So that needs to go. I won't go across there. It's twisted. Why is it twisted? What's stopping it? Oh, there's the rack twisted. Please don't tell me the rack's twisted. There you go. So, just excuse me a minute, guys, while I do this. Because I'm a bit of a nightmare to get in. So that could come out. Is that in there? Just going to have a tap a minute. Oh, that's right, it's in the wrong blooming place. Bear with us sometimes. I'm just in order to get the tanks that were on the shelf that you're looking at out, in order to put them in, I had to you have to take the shelf off above it because the tanks are so tight. Come on, get in there. It won't matter with this tank because I can move it easy. I can slide the other tank in and push it through the side because they're not full depth. But the ones that were on it are full depth, so you've got no manoeuvrability at all. So just need to put the side on, and then that's. I can click that into place. Stuff in. That's because I need to cut a cable tie out the way. There we go. Just making good use of the time. I do have to pack an order once it's done. Right, that's that little job done. So top shelf's in. I need to change my top up system. So I'll show you. So at the moment I've got a top up there that goes up across, and currently I've got T-pieces going up for the top tanks, which is still there, and then it comes down and across into that rack, and it's got top and bottom top ups on there. So I need to disconnect all that, change that pipe and take that T out, and then cut some T's into here for the two tanks that are going to go here, because originally they were Neos, so they're on their own system, but I've taken that out. And then my plan is going to be, so at the moment that's an end on the it's a stop end, and I'm just using it to cable tie the air valves, the white pipe, and again that comes down, goes across there on a T-piece and down to a pump that's at the back there. So obviously that rack doesn't need air moving forward, so I've got to disconnect all that, and then somehow I want to connect this to that one in there, and that one just runs up and down. So I think what I'm going to do is put an elbow in there and then another elbow and run it back out and cable tie it to this end of the rack. So that upright will end up being there, and I'll extend that over. Now I don't know if I can actually do it with just a connector piece in. So if I can get a connector for there, a straight connector, I might be able to sort of angle it out the back here. But the plan is just to run both of these racks off one air pump that sits underneath that rack. And the reason I've got them high is water doesn't go uphill, so you never get a back siphon off them at all. So once I've stripped this, I've got to do the air, and I've got to do, so what do I need? 2, 4, 6, I only need 6 air lines. To be honest, I reckon I could just use air. I don't even think I need it. I've got enough spares in here. I've got enough spares in there that I could actually just run long air lines out of there. But it's nice to see them and mark them up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to number the tanks. I'm going to do it 1, 2, 3, 4, and just put on there what they are. I put extras in because I run pipes off, as you can see. I've run pipes off to do stuff with, so I might do a mixed bucket. I've got a black water bucket there at the moment that I've been filling up and stuff, and running air through it just so it doesn't become stagnant. I don't mind. Water change for me is pretty easy. I take 10% out of each tank down the sink, and I've got an 80 litre bucket that I just connect up and plug in. It's fast, and I only tend to clean the glass if it's really dirty. What I sometimes do is so you see this fella here, that freshwater limpet, bane of my life, hate them. and I often crush them, but I don't think you're ever going to get rid of them. I think they're there to stay type thing. So if I can get these other two tanks moved today, and think, or even start to do the top up valves, start to do that system and get that finished, I'll be a happy man. Just looking, trying to work out where this goes from there, because it comes into here as well. So where are those feeding from? Back in from there. So they must just be on a dead end then. I know exactly how I'm going to do it. I'm going to change, pull that out, lift that up to there, drop another T in, and pipe up off there. Sorted. And I'm going to do the top up's easy. The air's the one that's pickling my head, because the parts, if I do decide to go, I've got elbows, so I do have a couple of elbows, but I don't think if I use elbows, I don't think there'll be enough room behind. I think I'm going to be better off using an extender. And I think a part for this stuff's between 5 and 10 quid a piece. They're not cheap. So we're still pumping at the moment, but we're nearly empty. I'm going to get this finished, I think, and then we'll call it a day. I do need to do some RO top-ups desperately. I've got a tub. I think my next steps for me, I'm going to empty a tub. I'm going to put the mystery snails in with the guppies for now. Empty their tub. I do want to save the substrate that's in there. It's a mix of gravel and sand, because I can use that in my next Neo tank that I haven't got yet, because it'll all be bacteriaed up and stuff. So I'll move that, give that a wash. That gives me somewhere to put one of the frog tanks, and then I might even set up this small tank for the PRL. Then I can empty that tank then. Put that in place before I ideas. Selling all your fish. I'm going back into fish, but it's more, the fish for me are more hobby and content. Although if I can breed and raise them and sell them, that's a bonus. It's just you can't ship them. I do need to go and see my old friend who I used to work for in Birmingham, who's got an aquatic store. Need to have a bit of a natter to him, because he'd probably take stuff. And then it's breeding out, isn't it? Breeding out. And I can invoice him as well, which he'll want. I need to cut some new lids for these tanks as well. I'd love to breed clams. There's a guy on YouTube I watch. Don't always agree with his content. But he's a great YouTuber, Paul Cafaro, and he goes to a fish breeding place that breed clownfish in these huge vats, like big circular vats, and I think it's called Topfin Aquatics or something in the States. It'll be Florida, I imagine. But they're an interesting watch. Right guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day there, get my phone charged up. Old boss, yeah, some of the storm clouds and stuff. But I'm gonna wrap it up there guys. I think I'm gonna put the I need to go and take some medication. I need to put the phone on charge, and I might pop back on later as I'm doing other stuff, but I don't want you all to see me struggling moving really heavy frog tanks. But thanks everybody for coming on and joining and saying hi. I have got you all down on a notepad, so you'll all be entered into the free giveaway in a few weeks time. Thanks everybody, take care, bye bye.